Your journal remembers something about you that you've already dismissed. Not because you were lying, but because human memory is protective and selective. I often tell clients this: you're not as inconsistent as you think you are. You're just forgetting your own evidence. When someone comes to me and says, I don't know why I keep ending up here, or I don't understand how this keeps happening, I don't immediately look for diagnosis. I look for narrative. Because before behavior becomes a pattern, it appears as a sentence. A quiet one. I don't feel seen. I'm tired of explaining myself. I think I'm settling. I feel guilty for wanting more. I don't know how I feel. You write these things months before your life shifts. And then when the shift finally happens, you call it sudden. It wasn't sudden. You recorded the early tremors. You just didn't revisit them. Psychologist Dan McAdams speaks about narrative identity, the idea that we build our sense of self through the stories we repeatedly tell about our lives. But what most people don't notice is this: if you're not consciously writing your story, your mind will rewrite it for comfort. Memory softens edges, it rearranges timelines, it minimizes your intuition. Your journal does not. That is why one page a day is not about productivity, it is about continuity. When you return to an entry from 3 months ago and read, I feel invisible in this room, and today you're in a different room entirely, you see the line connecting these two realities. Without that written record, you would call it coincidence. With it, you see progression. This is what James Penbaker discovered in his research on expressive writing. When people write about their emotional experiences, their stories become more coherent over time, not more positive, not more dramatic, more organized. When your experiences are organized, you feel less chaotic. There's a deep psychological relief in realizing I have been consistent with myself, even when you doubted your feelings, even when others dismissed them, even when you tried to talk yourself out of them. Your journal did not argue with you, it simply held the sentences. That is emotional continuity, and emotional continuity is stabilizing because what unsettles most people is not pain, it's disorientation. It's the feeling of, I don't know who I've been lately. I don't recognize myself. Why did I tolerate that? When you keep writing one page a day, you begin to see that you were never unaware. You were gathering data. Your entries become breadcrumbs. You notice that every time you feel energized, a certain kind of conversation was involved. You notice that every time you feel depleted, the same name appears. You notice that before every major decision, you wrote a hesitant version of it weeks earlier. That is not coincidence, that is narrative accumulation. I don't ask what happened, I ask what have you been saying to yourself for months? Because the journal remembers tone, it remembers hesitation, it remembers longing, it remembers when you first started shrinking. It also remembers when you first started wanting more. There's something profoundly stunning about opening an old notebook and realizing I was trying, I was honest, I was aware, even when you felt lost. In literature, we often return to diaries, from Anne Frank to private memoirists, not because they solved anything in real time, but because they preserved emotional truth in motion. A diary does not wait for wisdom, it captures becoming. And that is what your daily page does for you. It captures your mid transition. When you don't write, it feels fragmented. Monday feels separate from Thursday. Last month feels unrelated to this one. But when you write daily, even briefly, you create a thread. You can trace your evolution. You can see the slow strengthening of a boundary, the gradual loosening of an attachment, the steady build of courage. And sometimes this is important. You see that nothing changed. That too is information. Because if the same sentences appear for 6 months straight, that is not a mood, that is a message. Your journal is not there to judge you, it is there to remember for you. It remembers the early mornings you dismissed. It remembers the dreams you nearly abandoned. It remembers the parts of you that were clearer than you gave them credit for. When the outside world confuses you, your written words offer continuity. They say, you have been here before. You knew this. You're not unstable, you're unfolding. This is why bibliotherapy works. Not because books give advice, but because they help you recognize your own narrative arc. And when you keep a daily page, you become both reader and author of your life. So today, when you sit down to write, don't aim for insight. Don't. Just document the day honestly. A paragraph is enough if a page feels too much. Years from now, that paragraph will matter more than you think, because memory fades, but ink or typed words hold shape. If this practice has helped you feel more anchored in yourself, stay with this series. Subscribe. You're not chasing transformation here, you're building continuity, one page a day. Tomorrow is another day, not a beginning, not an ending. Just another page in a story that has been more consistent than you realized.